Hello, seekers of knowledge, and welcome to the Earth's Return to the Arcane, where I create explainer videos explaining about magic and magical creatures that have returned to the Earth, and places, and events, and so on and so forth. Now, today we are going to be talking about very common things, mages and other people who use magic in general, and some of the things mages will use to even the playing field with modern technology and things like firearms. To finish the things where we actually get background, and then I can talk about more detailed stuff, but just want to make sure we're all on the same page before we keep going. So, our first thing we should probably talk about is, to heavily oversimplify magic, basically you take the magic within your body and project it out by transforming or modifying it in a spell. That is the basic concept behind magic. Now, a lot of it has to do with things like what magic affinities do you have, what you're trained in, your method, along with a lot of other stuff that needs to be in detail. In fact, most schools and methods probably deserve their own videos, especially since some schools don't exist in other methods, while they do in others. But it should be also noted that people have a finite amount of mana within their bodies that can be produced at one time. But the way to increase this is by pushing out more magic. The more magic you put out, the more your body will build up, and so you can do larger spells. Spells are also affected by how much magic you use. So, for instance, if a spell affects a 10-foot radius, if you double the amount of magic, it will affect a 20-foot radius. Alongside that, those who use melee weapons are referred to as warriors or fighters, and have many different subcategories of skills they will use and employ. But almost all of them employ something called aura, which is related to magic. And in the way they're related, you can basically think of aura is the body's natural production of magic that's used to enhance and protect the body against outside forces. So, for instance, the average person's aura is designed to defend against just randomly drifting bits of magic interfering with your body. But for someone who's honed it, aura can be used to prevent people from casting spells on you. In fact, sometimes people's auras can be so strong they can shrug off curses, or other spells people try to cast on them. So that's why people can't just teleport things inside of people's bodies, or use spells to pinch a blood vessel in the brain. Yeah, so if for whatever reason you tried doing that on a poor goblin and that didn't work, that's why. Which, by the way, if you tried doing that to a poor goblin, I get, most people don't like goblins, but seriously, just why? But getting back on track. And in fact, the average person's aura is actually enough to prevent you from doing that. But aura can also be used in similar ways to magic. It can be converted into another element, for instance, say lightning or fire. The major difference is in both the complexity and output of it. For instance, if someone's aura is ignited, you can engulf your body in fire, but you're not going to be able to produce a fireball. Mostly because they are slightly different. Everyone's aura clings to their body, and everyone has it, even if you're not a warrior. The different ways they use them are most commonly referred to as warrior techniques or martial arts techniques. For instance, they will push their aura into a weapon or object and use that object. So, for instance, if you charge your sword with flame, lightning, or wind, it will gain attributes of that element. If you just pour in straight aura, you will turn your weapon into having just boosted effects. And that's one of the most common uses of it. You can also use it to enhance your body. For instance, I want to say it's mostly just referred to as the red method and blue method is how they're commonly referred to, but they're also best expressed with attack and defense. For instance, if you turn your aura into attack, it boosts your body's physical abilities to enhance attacking power, while defense enhances your body's defenses. Like magic, there are many ways that are used. For instance, berserkers pretty much just completely convert it into attack power. So, at the cost of being a glass cannon, they can just blitz right through things. Where the common guardian uses almost all their magic defensively. And elemental warriors convert their aura into elements to use. And people who just decide to stick with the middle can use red and blue to enhance both attack and defense. The second thing is a couple of the common spells, like bullet shields. Bullet shields are incredibly good at blocking high explosive and bullets, basically. By forming a field max, a lot like auras, it will absorb the impact before it hits your body. And it will actually usually shatter the bullet thanks to the change in pressure. Bullet shields are also unique because the way they're enchanted, they prioritize small and fast rather than slow-moving objects. So a standard arrow will break through it, while a bullet will not. This is mostly because if it was a solid shield, it would actually be easier to break through, along with them being just more mana intensive, making them harder to keep up for long periods of time. Bullet shields do have many weaknesses and benefits. Primarily that a bullet shield can be used to resist magic, and it will block explosions and trap metal as well. The downsides are it does not make you invulnerable. That is a key thing I have to stress. There are many ways to get around it. For instance, getting swarmed by bullets is a great way for it just to collapse straight away. A fast, large object is another great way for it to collapse. For instance, getting hit by a car, the bullet shield will collapse. And, of course, large weapons will also break through it. And once it collapses, it will take some time to recharge and gain back that strength. So it isn't a complete counter to bullets, but it definitely will take a few hits. And many large, or even just reasonably powerful creatures, aura is comparable in strength to bullet shields, which has been a bit of an issue. As you can imagine, it's resulted in things like dragons being able to take anti-tank rounds, while also being injured by a sword. Okay, so without further ado, I think that's it for the exploration of a few of the various things that I should probably just get out of the way for, so that we can get ourselves familiar with the terminology I'll be using. And now I'll be free to do more specific things. If you have a question about anything I mentioned in these videos, put it in the comment and I will help address it. And without further ado, I hope I see you around the channel.